Hello and welcome back to Code with Vinay. In today's video, we'll be discussing the basics of methods and functions in Java. Later on, we'll discuss methods in more detail when we'll be discussing object-oriented programming. In Java, we use classes and objects to create our programs. Inside a class, we have variables to store data, and we have been using statements to perform actions. But what if we want to reuse a set of statements over and over again without writing them repeatedly? That's where methods come in. Now the question is, what are methods? Methods are named block of code that perform a specific task. They allow us to break our program into smaller, manageable parts. You can think of methods as mini programs within our main program. They take some input, do some processing on the input, and then return some output. Note that the terms method and function refer to the same concept and are often used interchangeably. However, in Java documentation by Oracle, the preferred term is method. Now it's time to better understand the concept with the help of some code. Let's take a look at the structure of a method. So I'm going to create a very simple method. We'll call it say hello. So we'll say public void say hello. And since we want to say hello, we'll just say system.out.println hello students. We say that this region, the one which I have selected, that is line number 2, 3, and 4, is the function definition. We start the method with the access modifier, which determines its visibility. In this case, public means the method can be accessed from anywhere in our program. Other than public, there are two other access modifiers, and they are private and protected. Private restricts the visibility of the method only to the class in which it is declared, whereas protected makes the method visible in the enclosing class and the derived or the inherited class. We will discuss protected in detail when we'll cover inheritance. For the time being, we'll be using only public and private. Whether you make a class private or public depends on the use. Usually, the methods are public and the instance variables are private. The idea is that data is important and must be protected from accidental changes, and data must only be accessed in a controlled manner via public methods. The formal term for this concept is abstraction. Next, we have our return type. Since this method doesn't return any value, we use void. We can return any data type as per our requirement. I'll show examples of this as we move forward in this video. After the return type, we provide the method name. In this case, it's say hello. You can name your methods anything you like, but it is important to choose a meaningful name that describes what the method does. The usual practice is to use verbs to name your methods so that it is clear what the method is doing. Inside the parenthesis, we can include any parameters that the method requires. In this example, we don't have any parameters, so the parentheses are empty. Finally, we have the method body enclosed within curly braces. This is where we write the code that gets executed when the method is called. Here we are simply printing the message, hello students, to the console. Now that we have defined our method, how do we use it? We call or invoke a method using its name followed by parenthesis. Like this, we'll say hello followed by parenthesis to invoke the method say hello. Now notice the red underline under the method call say hello. The red underline indicates an error. So if I hover my mouse over it, see the error. It says cannot make a static reference to the non-static method say hello from the type function intro. The reason for this error is that our main is declared static and we cannot call a non-static method from a static method. Please note say hello is non-static. So what we'll do is we'll simply say public static void say hello to get rid of this error for the time being. A static method can be called without creating an object, whereas a non-static or regular method can be called only via an object. This will be discussed in more detail when we'll be doing object-oriented programming later on. When this line is executed, it will print hello students to the console. You can imagine how useful this can be when you have a complex set of statements that you want to reuse multiple times. Let's run this program once. So we'll go over here, we'll say run Java, and the output is hello students. Methods can also accept parameters or arguments, which allow us to pass values into the methods for it to use. For example, instead of saying hello students, we can accept a name over here. I can say string name, and then where we are printing students, we can simply say hello plus the name followed by the exclamation mark, and then we can pass the name. So I can say hello, for example, Vijay. And now if I run this very same program, instead of saying hello students, it will say hello Vijay. You can pass different values for the name parameter each time you call the method. For example, I can invoke the method say hello again and this time pass a different name, let's say Rahul. And if I run the program for you, you'll notice that now there will be two outputs. One, hello Vijay, and the other is hello Rahul. So far, we have seen methods with a return type of void, which means they don't return any value. But methods can also return data to the caller. Let me show you an example. I'll declare a method public static, and this time we'll return a value of integer type, and let's say we want to return the maximum of two numbers. So I'll call it getMax, and then I'll pass the two arguments. Let's call them int a and int b. Within the definition, we'll just check. We'll say that if a is more than b, we'll return a, else we'll return b. And then we'll call this method. And before calling, I'll just comment out the previous two calls to reduce the clutter. So we'll go over here and then I'll say get max and I'll pass two values. Let's say I pass 15 and 13. Now this is just a call. We are not storing the return value anywhere. So I'll just create one more variable. I'll say int m is equal to get max. And then we'll simply display the answer. We'll say maximum is, and then we'll display our maximum value, that is m. Now, if I execute this program, notice we are passing 15 and 13. So if I run this program, it says maximum is 15, which is correct. Another powerful feature of methods is called method overloading. It allows us to define multiple methods with the same name but different parameters. Let us understand function overloading with the help of an example. We are going to overload the method getMax to return the maximum of 3 integers. Let us overload the method getMax by declaring another getMax. But this time we'll have 3 arguments. So we'll call them int a, int b, int c. And then we'll quickly find the maximum of a, b, and c. And for that, what I'll do is I'll take a variable called max and we'll initially say that max is equal to a. Then we'll check that if b is more than max, then max is equal to b. Similarly, if c is more than our max, then max is equal to c. And finally, we'll say return max. Now in order to test our overloaded method, I'll add one more call to getMax in the main method, but this time we'll pass 3 arguments instead of 2. Let's make the change. We'll go down, we'll copy the call and the output. I'll paste it again and then I'll add the third argument. Let's say we pass 56. Now the first call on line number 18 will invoke the first getMax as we are passing 2 arguments, and the second call on line number 20 will call the second getMax as we are passing 3 arguments. The first call should return 15 as the answer and the second call should return 56 as the answer. Let's run the program and check our answers. So we'll run the program. And we are getting 15 and 56 as the answer. So when the methods are overloaded, Java determines which method to call based on the number and types of arguments provided. And that's a wrap on methods and functions in Java. We have covered the basics of defining methods, calling them, passing parameters, and returning values. Methods are incredibly useful for organizing our code and making it more modular. In the next video, we'll be diving deeper into methods, parameters, and discussing the concepts of call by value and call by reference in Java. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure to practice writing and using methods in your own programs. As always, don't hesitate to ask questions and explore further. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video. Your feedback is valuable to me. I want to make sure that my videos are clear and helpful. You can follow me on the internet on any one or all of these channels.